They are high-profile murder cases that have captured the nation's attention. One centers on two friends who were enjoying a girls' night out when they met a Hollywood producer and they ended up dead. Well, we will also dig into the cases of three moms who went missing, and the men in their lives have been charged with murder. Incredibly, in each of these cases, detectives never found their bodies. Here with me now to break things down are trial attorney Mercedes Colwin and Neama Rahmani, former federal prosecutor and president of the West Coast Trial Lawyers. It's wonderful to have you both with us. So let's start now with the case of David Pierce. He's convicted of drugging and sexually assaulting two women and leaving their bodies at separate hospitals, claiming he and his roommate found them on the side of the road. Neama, in this case, Pierce had made a statement about dead girls can't talk, but in this case they really could, especially because of the autopsy and toxicology reports. Wasn't it really damning when he was on the stand and explained how he didn't call 911?
It absolutely was. When a criminal defendant testifies, the entire case comes down to his or her testimony. And this is someone who continued to lie. And with respect to every one of those women he sexually assaulted. Now, sometimes sexual assault cases can be challenging, can be a he said, she said type situation. But when you have victim after victim telling the same story of physical, sexual violence, of being drugged by this individual, that's very hard for a jury to overcome. And it was all the lies.
Mercedes, I think this doesn't necessarily touch on the law, but it touches on morality and where we are. That I feel the sense, these women were treated so inhumanely like trash. And I've seen, especially from federal prosecutors, a real move to start to take the victims of these types of sexual assaults much more seriously.
Overall, there is absolutely a movement to show that if individuals feel that they have been victimized, they're taking them seriously. They have a voice. They don't have to be silenced. This speaks volumes around the country where it says, if you are accused of this, it's going to be taken very seriously.
The other person charged in this case, Brant Osborne, that the jury deadlocked and it ended in a mistrial. Obviously, the families of the victims want justice here. So do you go for a retrial? What do you do?
I mean, in terms of what Osborne could face in the future, he could be again facing those allegations, and maybe there'll be a plea deal.
Now let's turn to the cases of missing moms Suzanne Simpson, Ashley Elkins, and Mamta Bhatt. All three of them are presumed dead, but their remains have yet to be found. All of their stories covered here at True Crime News. Suzanne Simpson, a mother of four, disappeared last October in San Antonio. Her body never found despite a massive search to find her. Shortly after she was last seen, her husband Brad Simpson was charged with her murder. Which raises the question, how do you prosecute a murder case without a body?
As prosecutors, we always say today's domestic violence case is tomorrow's murder. And that's what we're seeing here. So first you have this history of violence, right? That's certainly circumstantial evidence that does come into every case. But you have more than that. You have evidence that these alleged perpetrators, they tried to dismember and dispose of the bodies. Doesn't matter whether it's at a landfill or a lake. There's plenty of evidence there. And this really goes to show how technology has changed the game in these prosecutions. Really, law enforcement and prosecutors have an advantage now.
Like in the cases of Ashley Elkins, a Michigan mother of two boys, last seen January 2nd. Her ex-boyfriend, DeAndre Booker, is now charged with her murder. And Mamta Bhatt, a young mother who disappeared last July from Virginia. Her husband, Naresh Bhatt, is facing charges of murder and physically defiling a body. Do you think, though, the evidence in at least two of these cases, in the Ashley Elkins case and in Mamta Bhatt, police say that they found evidence of pools of blood which would indicate that someone would not have survived whatever that injury is? In Ashley's case, investigators searched her ex's home and found a bloody crime scene with her DNA.
All of those things come into play, and it will be done so effectively by prosecutors to really go through all of those types of circumstances and show before the jury.
Mamta's husband Naresh opened the door to investigators while holding their infant daughter. They found a crime scene inside that prosecutors have called unsurvivable.
They'll thread that needle so effortlessly when you're talking about someone whose reaction about their missing loved one is incongruent with how they should be when confronted with a missing loved one. Where are the tears? Where's the concern? Why are you suddenly putting this fabrication in the path of this law enforcement. They're trying to investigate where your loved one is. When you fabricate facts, what will happen is they will be led astray, and the investigation is led astray, and their loved one is not found.
Neama, Mercedes, thank you so much for your insight today.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you so much.